When it comes to EVE Online, every player wants to know the most effective tactic available. You want to know the meta. The meta controls everything. It determines what will and will not happen. Knowing the meta will alter your views, make you question your reality. It might even make you laugh. And now, you're part of it. You're watching The Meta Show.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of The Meta Show. And you know, everybody, I'm going to be a little honest with you. Me and Dave came on today and we're like, what is going on in EVE Online right now? It's pretty quiet, Dave, right? Coming out of like the winter and that kind of thing, it's pretty quiet, right?
It is. And real quick, because I've just noticed as we have started, Kane, why is my face squished?
It wouldn't be a Meta Show without some kind of
It's
camera
like-
bug there.
Like
Dave
really
is
squished, isn't it?
Squished on the Meta Show today.
Anyway, so yeah, no, it's been very slow news. Other than the news about Lawn, which I believe we're probably going to cover next week or the week after, just once they've got themselves situated. Because coming on a talk show in the middle of moving out or somewhere in a grace period is not a good idea.
Yeah.
Because you may say something that may get you in trouble.
100%. Yeah. Dave versus his fidgeting. The Kane always is a good guy, gets us squared away here before the show. So appreciate the work he does behind the scenes to make sure we get a good broadcast on. Because personally, I can't be bothered, and I don't think Dave wants to be bothered to do it either. It makes our lives
It's a lot of work to try and pay attention to what's being said. Like last week on CCP's Twitch, I was paying attention to so many different things because people were messaging me and stuff. I could barely pay attention to conversation. If I'd have been running that stream as well, it would have just been I don't know how Brisc managed it. I really don't.
Yeah, Brisc
I don't have the attention span for that.
Definitely a legend, a goat of the Meta Show, greatest of all time, I'd argue to say there. And we definitely miss having him. But, so we can get into a little bit of kind of some of the stuff that's been going on. If you don't know, and I will always have a shameless plug for tournaments and anything of that nature, Dave. I love tournaments. I love the AT and, the different ones going on. There is a tournament right now going on. Fountain Frank when? Yeah, it's a good question, Kane. It's a good question. We'll have to ping Brisc and be like, hey, man, come on, do a throwback show. But no, so the Anger Games is spinning up. I know there's signups for teams and stuff are going on right now. I know at some point they'll get into practices and that kind of thing. I believe they're shooting for an April timeframe. I don't have the exact dates right in front of me. You'd have to reach out to those guys. I know there's a post on Reddit for the Anger Games. And I think at some point, maybe we'll see how things go. We might have the organizers of that come on the show and talk in some more detail about Anger Games. That's been a tournament, for those of you who don't know, that's been going on for a long time. It's kind of where I got started. It's a 7v7 format, and they have different rules every year. And typically these smaller tournaments, I don't want to say it's smaller. I actually think it's bigger. I think they're going for a bigger tournament compared to the one that Jin ran last year. They usually lead into helping with placements and that kind of thing into the AT. So if you're a tournament lover like me, check out the AT. Reach out to me. You're more than welcome to reach out to me on Discord or anything or in game if you need any more details. If you're looking to say, hey, how do I get involved with that? I can definitely get you the Discord and get you in contact with some of the captains there. On the Alliance tournament thing, another thing that's interesting going on in EVE right now, and I know we've had Sapporo Jones on here, and he was committed, Dave, to bringing Tess back.
Mm-hmm.
And Tess recently lost to Tatara. Can we drop that Tatara kill mill?
Yeah, where did I have that?
I got it,
I've
Dave.
copied and pasted stuff since then. Yeah, they lost it to, I think it was actually Main Fleet and BFL that killed it. But they lost to Tatara in their home space. They had 100 of their members on the battle report, which I think is probably the most we've seen from them in a long time. So they're getting back there. But I mean, they were shoved on the border with goons. They're gonna. I don't know how long they're gonna be able to keep up with that. I'm looking for the actual BR of that fight now.
Yeah, if you can find it, Dave. And it's interesting to see Tess. I like seeing Tess come back since we lost Horde, and maybe Tess will get some more numbers under their belt, and Sapporo will build that back better. I feel like that's been said. And fill the void that Horde left. I mean, that's exciting. It's exciting to see. I mean, to add another, I don't have personally, I wasn't involved in the war against Test is next. That's right. And thanks, Dave, for dropping the BR. There's the BR. You can check out the BR
The
there.
interesting thing is there's 71 members of Northern Coalition. Now, ignoring Test coming back, that many members of NC logged in and undocked is impressive.
Dave, did
Not
it
gonna
remind me?
lie.
Did NC, are they aligned with Winterco, or are they just their
Yes,
own
they
team?
left to join Winterco. Most of PamFam did.
That's right. With PL and everybody else is over in Winterco. So it does kind of, I guess, if you're on the other side of Winterco, to see Tess getting some numbers back. If you go look at Tess's Zkill right now, they have about 559 active characters on Zkill, which is a good number. And then you see with Frat, and then NC's got 71 peeps undocked for this. And then PL went over there. You start to wonder, I don't know. Do we see Init still continue to stand on their own, or is there any threat there as we see Tess grow, or do you think Tess will leave? What are your thoughts, Dave?
I mean, Init can outform what they brought to that fight. Bear in mind, this is a Tatara. It's not a cheap thing. Not at all. In their home space, in one of Winterco's home regions, I know it's pretty much the entirety of the north of the map now. It's a bit ridiculous. And they only brought 342 people. We sent fleets from our allies, a main fleet, and a SIG, and got 500. In it, when they want to form, can form 600 to 1,000 easy. So I think they're pretty good.
Yeah, reality, and it definitely is a powerhouse. And then with the members, I know Horde kind of split off there, and they went over to Init. So it's definitely interesting to see. It's still kind of a trifecta with Goons, Imperium, Init, and then Winterco. I have respect though for Shines, what he's done there, because Init stands on its own. Who are their blues, Dave? Like, do they have any
No, but going back to what I said before, you don't need blues when you bring them into your alliance. I mean,
true.
Like, they've just absorbed the people, which is sticking to we're not having blues, but it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, it's basically so it just forcibly consumes the other groups. I mean, Horde. I don't know, Dave. Am I sensing a little bit of like, hey, they shouldn't have taken Horde on? Do you think they shouldn't have?
I'm thinking. Well, no. The members of Horde deserved a place to go where they would have a leadership that cares. Say what you will about Darkshines, he actually cares about his members. He had a Moloch and sold it because he could get X amount of Titans for the same price for his alliance.
Yeah.
Now that he actually gives a crap. But my issue is because the people that took over Horde couldn't be bothered, they closed one of the biggest alliances in the game just to be able to go live out their elite PvP thing. If they wanted to do that, they shouldn't have taken it on, or they shouldn't have done it that way. They should have found someone that wanted to run it.
Speaking of elite PvP, Dave, wasn't Zigum one of those elite PvPers?
No, he has his own. He has his own little thing going on in drones. He does.
He does, and I
minus
think
one Titan.
Minus one Titan, chat. Those of you who are familiar with our good friend, I'm gonna call him a good friend. I mean, I don't know. I don't have anything against him. Good friend Zigum. He it looks like David, I think this is confirmed. He lost a levy to, looks like snuffed out aligned folks out in Ethereum Reach. Did he lose a second? Duck, I think I don't know if that's the first one or the second one. I think it was a rag, right? He lost first because he DD'd that Phoenix.
Yeah, he lost a rag doing something real dumb.
Yeah. And then he lost a levy.
And yeah, like, I mean, I've done dumb shit in my Titan, but
was this to a
that's
bait
stupid.
beacon though? Like, is that confirmed first? Like, do you know if that was to a bait beacon, the levy?
He's on a gate grid. I could imagine that'd be where beacon is.
Because honestly, like when we were in freaking, I forget what region that was when I was in Rote, it was like MTAQ or whatever that system was. We were like 7 jumps from Jita. We had a beacon set up in that space. And that beacon,
it is a Rote system.
It was, oh, well then that checks out if that's the case. I didn't see,
It's literally, the system is,
it is a Rote system.
They're literally owned by a corp called Vic Johnson's Bait Shop.
Yeah, that's Rote's. Yeah, so Vic was one of the. Yeah, so like, yeah, definitely that's hilarious that Rote got a Titan out of it, because I can remember when Dave, when I was back in Rote years ago, and we had Sov similar to that. We had a beacon set up, and there was a Titan that jumped to it, but the guy would, at downtime, log in and log off mid warp until he got himself out of the bubble, which I thought was
like they did in M2.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, kind of not. What they did is they logged in to see where they were, then they got fleets to clear the bubbles at that point, and then log the Titan and jump out. But we were also lancing them as they came in, because each day they came in, they couldn't rep, so they would keep taking damage, and eventually you'd kill them.
Bait beacons are I hope are something that never goes away in EVE Online. I think they are a critical element to the gameplay as it is. There's another, they do provide, Kane.
The beacon provides.
The bacon provides. There was another Titan 2, interesting news, I guess, in it, lost an Erebus. If those of you who know the story behind this Erebus dying in Fountain, I would love to hear it. I have no idea what he was doing or how he died, but it's always interesting to see an Erebus die, or any Titan.
Also had the Azerial that slow-boated because he was AFK off the keep in test space, fat space.
Well, it wasn't only an Azrael that died; it was a Revenant that died too.
Yeah, they both slow-boated off.
Yeah, so like Frat or whoever it was in Frat decided, if you're not aware of this, or weren't paying attention or whatever, which is fine if you weren't. It's been the holidays. Frat decided to feed. I wouldn't say decided to, but somebody decided to slow boat their Azrael. And yeah, Snuff did drop on him. What's the question I have though is, like, Snuff, when you say reality, when you say Snuff did that, like, I don't think it was planned. I know there was some Reddit drama where supposedly the guy who owned the Titan in the Rev like said, "You're not going to drop in my space" or whatever, and then Snuff like dropped on him and killed him. So little funny stuff there to see that. It's sad to see something go down like that, which, Dave, it brings up, that's awesome reality. And I think that kind of gameplay is really awesome, and how they do that, watching Sinos go up and all the strategy behind it.
Real quick, in the drop on that Azerial and Revenant and an Apostle and some other dreads, the fat side lost. Well, have a guess how much they lost. Anyone?
I think it was a trill, wasn't it?
Like 1.1 trillion.
Damn.
And the Snuff and Init side lost 197 bill. So I think they're ISK positive for the next.
Do you have that BR to drop?
Yeah.
Drop that in chat for those of our viewers who can't see it. Drop the BR for everybody. Thank you, Dave. What's interesting about seeing these Titans die, whether it's Zigam doing Zigam things with his, or it's the Azrael that just slow-boated off, we're not seeing, and we've talked about this a little bit, Dave, on other shows, what is it going to take to get them to come out and like alliances to field them? And I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, Dave. And I know we've talked about this with the CSM and that kind of thing, but it's still kind of, it brings up a good point again. Like I just don't see right now in the game, in the landscape of EVE Online, when Titans and Supers are going to be used outside of people moving around like a glorified expensive suitcase.
Yeah, I think it would just take an objective that requires them. Because as I said on our last show on the CCP channel, there's no reason. The thing used to be keep stars needed them because the Doomsday was so powerful it would wipe out subcap fleets. That's not a thing anymore. You can attack a keep star with subcaps and not get hurt by the structure. So unless your enemy is fielding supers and titans, there's no need for you to. And that's just a circle, really. What came first, the chicken or the egg? You know, if you're not going to put it on grid, then they won't, and then you won't, and then they won't. Exactly. If somebody built the Palatine keep star, for instance, that would be everybody in the game trying to drop their titans on it because meme. But right now, there is no reason to do it.
The Palatine keep star, I don't know if, I think there's enough resources in the game. I remember reading when that first came, there wasn't enough resources in the game yet to make the Palatine keep star. We might be there at this point or whatnot, that kind of thing. I have no idea. I don't know if anybody will build the golden goose that is the Palatine. I don't even know if anybody has enough ISK or if there's big enough whales in the game to make that happen. Goons, maybe Goons. If there was an alliance to do it, I would say Goons, Frat, in it, one of those big groups would be the ones we would see it come from. And something tells me Blue Melon probably does. I don't know who Blue Melon is. The name sounds familiar though. But no, 100%. Like I think I could see Goons making it because Goons seem very, as you know, the time that I was in and that kind of thing. They live for the meme in that sense. So I would encourage the Imperium to go out and say, hey, we're gonna build. Hey, he owns the Amamake keep. Oh, okay. Well, you know, you feel like I would know that. I live like one jump from Amamake, and I buy stuff out of that keep all the time. So, all right, cool. No, so some of the other stuff, Dave, that we had dropped, there's been some recent patch notes that CCP dropped on the 29th. Nothing like super extravagant. You saw the Succubus. For those of you who are Succubus lovers, got a bonus to power grade and capacitor. And something that's a little like for those of you who live in Null or anybody who's watching who is a Horde refugee, there was a asset safety valuations were updated for Titans and super carriers. So those of you who might be coming back or know somebody come back, I don't know if they got cheaper. I just have kind of cliff notes here, but that's something to look into if they're a little more affordable, a little more reasonable to get those out of asset safety. We also saw the Pirate Stronghold drop in volumes. So some PvE updates there. And then we saw some general like quality of life, that kind of thing, from fitting sims to watch lists, the map jumps. So I know many of you are very familiar with that. And then fleet broadcasts and that kind of stuff. So Titans, yeah, if Titans are cheaper, I think they're like 170 bill per now. Yeah, and that's something we talked about on the last meta show. Is like supers, and I think several of our CSMs that were on the show had said like supers need to come down in price. And I don't want to put words in Oz's mouth, but I think Oz was on the same page, Dave. I don't remember specifically.
Oh, he was, I think.
Yeah, so like in Oz is our EVE Online's like go-to economic guru, and love having Oz on the show to talk about that side of the game because it's not a side of the game that I'm super familiar with. I know Dave dabbles a little bit in it, but not something I'm super good on. So yeah, definitely would love to see supers go down. Yeah, Triglavian carrier when. There was a Reddit post. I was on Reddit the other day. You're talking about Triglavian carriers. People were talking about a Serpentis carrier potentially coming out because they saw it on, I don't know if it was on the test server or what it was. And they're like, oh, there's this. Yeah, there was some icon or something. Apparently it's been there for a while. And faction carriers, I feel like would be too expensive to really use much. If
I
that were
don't
the
think you would
case,
see a trig carrier. Maybe fighters would be
trig
useful,
fighters,
but not really a carrier. Because
fighters
the
that
whole
ramp
thing,
up.
yeah, the whole thing about trig is their gun or the ramping. What are you going to ramp on a carrier? At that point, what you've got is a dreadnought with 3 tubes for fighters.
Yeah, which great segue though, Dave. Like as we talk about carriers and maybe trig carriers or something. And by the way, I mean if that's something you're really passionate about, you want to see trig, ping your CSM. Be like, man, can we get a trig fighter? That'd be awesome, right? Might help for bashing structures. But we've seen carriers, Dave, make a comeback in a lot of alliances
Let me
doctrines.
try and find this BR because Goonswarm has a carrier subcap doctrine.
Carrier subcap.
We use subcap logi and everything else and carrier DPS.
How much
and they
DPS do you get
dropped-
out of a carrier?
Not entirely sure nowadays. I'd have to look it up. Hold on, I'm looking for this BR.
Somebody give a Pyfo Warrior. I want to say it's around 2,000 to 3,000 with volley, of course, on the fighters that you get out of a carrier, but I could be wrong. Yeah, PVE 3,000. I'm sure a fleet carrier is probably what, like 2 something, 3K. Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought.
So the story behind this BR that I can't find right now. Zintage was doing one of our carrier fleets, and he had dreads dropped on him. So he told the carriers and everybody to micro warp drive on and burnt away from the dreads while they ate them, because the carriers were just going so quick that the dreads couldn't, attack them. They do and they don't. You need a lot of light fighters to apply to subs and kill them. But when you call it a mainline doctrine for Goonswarm, people will join in because, oh my god, we can bring Logi, I can get involved in this. Unlike a cat fleet where it's all secretive and stuff, it's everybody going, let's jump in this.
Yeah, and I think something to remember too, like you might be right. Even light fighters are terrible in application. I know application was nerfed on carriers a while ago. But what we do see with carriers is just like you say with battleships, you need support to apply. If you have a battleship doctrine and you're fighting AHACs like zealots or something, you're not going to just with the battleships by themselves apply very well to the AHACs if they're flown properly, right? So if you have that support in your fleet, which carriers, guess what? You have Dramies, you have different fighters, which you can use to then support and increase application. Or you just bring a few Hugans or whatever in fleet anyway, because you're running subcap logi. They are like 800K, a million HP freaking battleships. They're putting out Hall Dread DPS, arguably, or Marauder level DPS, and they have twice the EHP, and they don't need a siege. And I think the counter to it play, right, is as that battle report. Thank you for dropping that battle report, by the way. With the dreads died, you drop the dreads on the carriers, or what do they do, Dave? They just MJD away. And they still
Or
have their
just turn
fighters.
away. Just turn prop mud on and off you go.
Exactly. How do you hold the
Um,
carriers in place?
We have randomly an ad break coming up in the middle of the show that shouldn't
Yeah,
happen.
don't know why we have been trying to pause the ad break, but unfortunately, in about 3 minutes,
We'll
we are
look.
gonna go to ad.
I'll look into that. That's weird. But yeah, so things are changing. Carriers are now cheaper. Trying out some new things with them, but I think we're a long way off seeing the big cap fights of old. Dreads probably, but like super caps and stuff, not gonna happen for a while.
Yeah, when you say big cap fights of old, 100%, Dave, I agree. Like the super fights that we saw, like the old BTEC Rs, EM2s, that kind of thing, where you see Titans, you'll see supers drop when the other side knows at the end of a fight, like they're just cleaning up. When they know there's no risk, snuffed or whoever might drop them, but you're not going to see big just trading blows, Titan for Titan kind of thing happen, I think, anytime soon, because there's nothing to like what we've talked about worth fighting over. But it's cool to see carriers get back into the mix a bit. I think it's interesting gameplay that you think about it, where you have carriers and then the counter to the carriers is either you bring your own or you drop dreads on them. Well, dreads can make quick work of those carriers, they get on top of them. But the challenge you face, again, like we just talked about, is how do you lock those carriers down? Like Dave said, you can just burn away from the dreads. You might lose a few carriers when you do it, or they have their amazing MJD thing, which it might take a few dreads with you or whatever. they can just jump away 250 and leave their fighters down there and be like, oh, sorry, well, we're now 250 away. So now you're going to have to get another Sino on top of us and drop the rest of your dreads. So I think it's definitely an interesting gameplay with carriers to see carriers come back on the field. And I have a feeling we're going to see some carrier balances come out. And this isn't me speaking because I know something or whatever. This is just a guess based on it. We'll see some carrier balance passes here in upcoming patches with EVE Online. And we might see carriers become a little more dominant than they already are. Who knows? Because I know that's been something we've asked for.
I would love to see oracles actually become a useful thing in the game, but yeah. I miss the days of 9 oracles on about because you could kill a lot of stuff. Like,
no, 100%.
Exactly. Well, as we talked about when we were on CCP's channel with Oracle, excavators should be expensive again and should have no waste. If an ore mining laser has no waste, why does an excavator mining drone not have waste?
Yeah. Well, so if you make them too expensive, though, then you're going to have people who just live off of.
They used to be a billion-esque.
Yeah, you used to, but wasn't that the whole gameplay though? Like people would boost the excavators away from the rock and just
exactly, and that was the fun thing. You could easily stop it. You had to keep your rock close to the rock.
Message your CSM folks out there, Zinage, those folks, whoever, and be like, look, make oracles great again. Okay, we'll push that. They're coming. They're still in Iceland today. I think they're coming back tomorrow, or some of them may have come back today. I think their summit is over, but still a great time. There's still a year's worth of work on their end, and they definitely get some. They get CCP's ears. So message your CSM, 100%. And if you don't know who your CSM is, ask us, me or Dave. We'll help you out. Any of them, that kind of thing, to make oracles great again. Because I feel like Dave will be a happy man with EVE Online if oracles are good again.
Twofold. I can kill more and I can bring all my oracles back.
There you go. We can see the days. And maybe that's something we could see. I don't know if it brings supers out more, but if there's more oracles out, what are you going to kill oracles with? Probably 30 dreads, honestly. But
I mean, you drop a super on it with shadows, you could probably nuke it before it panics.
True. True, but I don't know. I feel like at that point, the ammo you just spent was worth more than the oracle.
Yes, but the meme.
True, the meme. Dropping the shadows. I think we were talking about this the other day when we talk about shadows. We're going to ad break, so those of you who are subbed, you can still hear us. We could just sit here quietly and just stare at the screen, Dave, for 2 minutes.
We could, but then YouTube would not be happy with us.
No, it would not. YouTube would not like the fact.
Hi, YouTube. How you doing? I think life has actually been busy lately, very busy, so we haven't got any up on YouTube yet. But hey ho,
me too. Because I told Zealous we had talked about this on stream, and we got to go back and find the video where we did it. But there's been some discussion on. Folks have asked what changes have been implemented because of CSM feedback, specifically because of CSM feedback. And I know we've talked about it on a couple of our shows where CSMs have said, hey, this was a direct change because of our feedback.
Well, the VOD should still be on. It should still be on the Twitch.
We can try to multicast to YouTube also. Let's keep it simple, Kane. Let's not try to.
You would need the YouTube login to do that. But yeah, this show is literally just us bullshitting because it's been a slow news week, other than Law and Imperium, which we will cover after they've moved out.
If you're a role player, the Galente president was just taken out of office, right, Dave? I don't know if you saw that.
I don't follow the law, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Galente President Akgard impeached by Senate over polls, capsuleer contracts, and AI laws. I feel like it's like there's some mirroring to real life here.
I feel like there's some subliminal messaging with that.
There might be. But, I don't know what impact that's going to have, by the way. Welcome back for those of you who do not sub to the Meta Show. We're back from ad break. We were just talking about breaking lore. The Galente president was impeached by Senate over polls. So for those of you who pay attention to the lore. And this is probably a prelude to something else that CCP is going to do later this year. Would be my guess, like as far as the game is impacted. But I have no idea where they're going with this. So I would love to see kind of continue the sleeper arc and the drifter arc and that kind of thing and what they started there, or maybe Trig do something. But hey, seems like CCP is going the route of impeaching the Galente president. So if you're Galente,
well, but every now and again, don't they end up killing one of the leaders of the factions anyway? Like,
yeah, didn't
killing
Amar
them off,
like
remove them?
a freighter blew up or something?
Yeah.
There's apparently, for those of you who don't know how this works, there's a Caldari missile mechanics tutorial. I'd impeach her too with that ball haircut. You know what, Chichi, when I saw that, I was like, man, they could have done like a better job with that character model of the Galente president. Like, come on, like she is there's an interesting looking character model there. But I would agree, I'm not a fan of the bowl haircut on the Galente president. That might be why the Galente impeached her, Dave. I don't know.
Terrible hairstyle.
That's right.
Yeah, as I said, this is the Dave and Keith talk about random bullshit show. Welcome.
It's probably be a short show today. We're coming up to the end of the list here. We did see some sovereignty shifts in the last 7 days as well. We saw Deepwater gain 3 systems, Slice lost systems, Mimitar Fleet Alliance, which is close to my heart because in Sedition, Dave, we are actively fighting Mimitar Fleet Alliance, and we have been actively. Big Ab Reality Kings has been like they've. Gone back
they
and forth.
try and then they annoy people and they get clobbered and then they try again.
Yeah,
we've actually discussed that matter on this show.
We've had Hard Knocks didn't do. I think they're still. I don't know, but I know we had. I can't think. Alexander Blessed on here from Big Ab. He's talked about it. So do agree. We've had leaders of Big Ab on here talk about it. Like, oh, we're just dabbling. They haven't committed to it, but it's been kind of an experiment on their part because there is to be made. Yeah, there's to be made in nullsec, and with Horde dipping out of nullsec, there's some space out there that's out for grabs. And as we said in Rote Compel and how we got Sov back when I was in Rote years ago, free real estate. It's free real estate, guys.
Yeah, it's not just free real estate. It's free real estate with a guarantee of protection against the large blocks.
Well, I mean,
because goons won't touch, and if other people touch it, we will kick them up.
Can you bring up a really good point, though? If you could figure out the mechanics, and that's something I can tell you, I've talked to, and I think Puke said it last week on the show. Puke went out, a Sedition went out and took some Sov because he's trying to figure out the mechanics. And he's like, dude, I don't know how this works. And I don't think there's a tutorial that shows you how it works.
As Zintage said in the message I read out from him, they need to make some sort of program like the larger blocks have made for themselves to allow people to plan solve. Because they've made it a mini game in itself.
That no one knows how it works. Well, I mean, people know how it works now. It's been out long enough. But I'd love to see a change of solve. On
the note of things switching, a corp left Fraternity to form their own alliance and live in Dow. And be a member of, I've forgotten what the name of the coalition is in Delve, but them people.
Them people.
Yes, those people. That is relatively big news, except we couldn't get anyone on because they all speak Chinese, so it would have been.
What corp was it?
I can't remember the name now. Sorry, I've been busy.
Any corp that leads frat, go for it. I'm as you guys know, like I'm not a huge fan of frat, so
frat are just a bunch of bullies.
Frat week again. I remember when frat first joined the game, and they didn't understand local and intel, and they were telling each other to dock up, and we just went around and like
they still do
Ishtar after Ishtar after Ishtar. They're not as bad now. They're just bots. They just dock up automatically when you get in system mostly.
Their SOV is being held in Fade by a NC Corp. Outcorp. Interesting little tidbit. I was just going to look at something, but nc.services hold all the sovereign paid. It's weird.
And just so you know, if you're tracking, there's been somebody said it earlier in chat. We've had some ISK sales here for the week that CCP did. This is on January 27th was the 12-year anniversary of BTAC R, where there was a legendary 7,000 players. Though I think we've exceeded that in some fights here in the Imperium.
M2 broke the record.
Yeah, but it is the 12-year anniversary here a few days ago or after that. But as we've said, Dave, it's been a quiet week in EVE Online. Not a whole lot going on. We're going to probably talk. Hopefully, we might get some peeps on with Lon, that kind of thing next week. So please be around next week for the show. Week after that is Valentine's Day, Dave. We will probably not have a show. I personally will.
I will be busy.
Yeah, I will be in Nashville for work. So Nashville, Tennessee. Any of you out there? Beautiful state to go to.
I choose life rather than, I will die if I live stream on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so no live streams on Valentine's Day. And then on a personal note, for those of you, if you may or may not have noticed, I've lost a bunch of weight, Dave. I'm down like 60 pounds in the last couple months.
So funnily enough, guys, when he turned his camera on today, I last physically saw Keith. We've spoken, but last saw him with my eyes on the CCP stream. And he turned his camera on today, and I literally went, "Fuck me, you've lost weight in the last 2 weeks." It's actually rather impressive.
Hey, welcome to the
If I
chat,
was
Lord
Kane,
Zizo.
though, if I was Kane, I would have stretched out your camera just to
Stretch it out, make it look bigger. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, actually, that's why I'm in a hat, and I put this jacket on to make myself look somewhat nice. I actually just got back from the gym, working out 6 days a week, and please, I'll stretch out the camera, and have a whole weight loss journey. So did that. Yeah, so I think that's really all we've got for today, everybody. I know it's not the most exciting thing to talk about. We had to get our digs in on Zigam a little bit, and the 2 Titans that he's fed. Interesting to see Test. Keep an eye out on Test and the things that they're doing, and they're growing. And other than that, not much to go on. Dave, do you want to take us out?
Actually, one quick thing I want to do is give a shout out to Kane. He took over doing the tech stuff, so I can actually focus on what the hell I'm doing on the screen. And he's been doing it almost flawlessly. Occasionally, I do it when he's not available. But shout out to him. He doesn't normally get to talk, so if he wants to turn his mic on and say hi to everybody, he can.
Yeah. Come on, Kane. We want to hear your voice. Your lovely voice. He's shy.
Oh, he hasn't added it, but it's to stop him cocking it up and accidentally talking. But yeah, he's behind the scenes most of the time now.
Hello, all.
Doing that, which allows him to focus on that rather than me focus on that and doing the show, which is where cock-ups happen.
It's great work with you guys. Thanks for allowing me to.
It is.
Yeah, no problem, buddy. We love having you.
But yeah, I think that's all we got. Have fun, everybody. Join Sigs and Squads if you're in the Imperium. I heard the Prime Sig that I'm doing is quite good. Join that one. Check it out. Yeah, Goonswarm's got a new Discord. That's going to be a fun experience. And that is all, folks. We will catch you next time on the Meta Show.
See you, everybody. Thanks.